Okay. Good morning. This is the pre-proposal conference for RFP number 25001, Energy Savings Performance Contracting, or ESPC. My name is Matthew Chow and I work at the State Procurement Office. I will be facilitating the procurement for the ESPC on behalf of the state. Before we start, just a few quick notes. This is a non-mandatory event, and attending the pre-proposal event does not substitute reading the RFP. Please do not rely on previous solicitations, what other departments have done, or what you have worked on with other states. Please keep your microphones muted so that it does not cause any distractions. The state is not responsible for any of your technical difficulties. So if you are noticing a lag, that is the reason why I've also have the videos blocked right now, so it can save some bandwidth here. In the event of catastrophic difficulties, the pre-proposal event may be rescheduled at a later date, which will be posted in an addendum on Hybro. The pre-proposal slides will be posted on Hybro later in an addendum too, which you may later download. Okay. The State Procurement Office, or SPO, is issuing this solicitation pursuant to Hawaii Administrative Rules and Hawaii Revised Statutes on Competitive Sealed Proposals, or more commonly known as RFP, Request for Proposals, for the purpose of creating a vendor list of pre-qualified energy service companies, which may be used to execute future energy-saving performance contracting projects for the state and county agencies. Pre-qualified ESCO under this RFP solicitation will be eligible to participate in a secondary solicitation process conducted by state or county agencies. A pre-qualified ESCO selected through the secondary solicitation process may ultimately enter into an agreement or contract with the state or county agency for an ESPC project with guaranteed energy savings. The previous contract, known as SPO Vendor List 19-08, Energy Savings Performance Contracting, started in April 2019 and expired April 2024. This contract is a design build contract for energy savings, which the example that was once provided to me was solar panels. But if you look at the definition of energy savings, it also includes other resources such as water, solid waste, operational costs, or renewable energy generated. The 1908 contract was awarded to 7 contractors. The contract did begin in fiscal year 2019, but by the time the contract was handed over to me in 2021, I could only obtain data from the previous fiscal year. Fiscal year 2024 just ended, which is why it indicates partial. The table above is just to provide an idea of what has been procured through the 1908 contract. It is not a guarantee for sales. So the solicitation was released on June 27th. Today is the pre-proposal conference on July 12th. The question submittal deadline is July 19th. Answers to questions are on August 9th, and the proposal due date is on August 15th. Please note that as an RFP, it does provide the evaluation team to have discussion and baffle, which is also known as best and final offer, but it is strongly encouraged that your initial offer is complete, all offer forms, and response to that questions is explained clearly. The evaluation committee members may decide that discussions and baffle are not needed. The anticipated award date is October 1st, and the initial term is 2 years, and there is 3 additional 24-month periods. So in other words, the total contract term is for 8 years. All of the information is listed on the RFP, but I did want to call a few items. HiPro is the state of Hawaii's e-procurement system where we issue solicitations, receive responses, and issue notices of award. HiPro is maintained by Hawaii Information Consortium, LLC, DBA Tyler, Hawaii. Also, as indicated in the RFP, this is how we'll issue the solicitation, documents, addenda, if any. It is your responsibility to submit on time before the solicitation due date in HiPro. It is recommended that you submit ahead of time because in the event that your internet goes down, someone at your company forgot, or for whatever reason, there will be no exceptions. So if the due date and time passes and you email it to me or physically drop it off, it will be rejected. In the event that any single one of your file exceeds 100 megabytes, you will need to consider breaking the file into smaller parts. All of the PDFs should be OCR enabled, meaning that it should be text searchable. So this might be a concern if you scan any of the files and save it as a PDF. Confidential. Aside from the markup costs, if there is any personally identifiable information or PII, so direct phone numbers or email addresses, please review section 24.5 required format and content. If you are putting any confidential information, please note that you will need to submit an unredacted version of this for the eval committee members to read and the other for public inspection. Okay. HiPro uses the North American Industry Code System, which are the codes to connect vendors to the solicitations they are interested in receiving email notifications. In case you are unfamiliar, the NAICS is the standard used by the federal statistical agencies in classifying business establishments. In order to receive email notifications for this solicitation, one of the following codes from this screen need to be selected. If anyone attending heard about this solicitation by some other means, please update your HiPro account to include one of those NAICS codes. So if anyone here received an email, but you feel that this has nothing to do with your company, this is why that automatic email was sent. I selected the maximum amount of NAICS codes that was related to this solicitation. So there is mandatory minimum requirements. Basically show that you and or your subcontractor has the required licenses, which could be possibly for A, B, or C license, and that you're not debarred or suspended from the federal, state, or DOIR. Oh, I jump ahead. Sorry. As indicated in the RFP, you shall enter $0 in HiPro as your offer. This is due for a few reasons. First, this is a non-mandatory contract. It is unknown what projects are immediately required. Second, it was the same as done in the previous solicitation. Although we do have the ability to require the $5,000 to be due immediately, which would save the headache for all of us monitoring, it would not be fair if you did not have any sales immediately generated. Tyler, Hawaii is the vendor who maintains HiPro. The awarded vendors will have a fee assessed based on the sales reports submitted each fiscal quarter. You will also notice that in this section and Exhibit F, there will be a penalty of $100 a month for each missing sales report. Additional actions may be taken, which include temporarily removing you from the resulting SPO vendor list contract and termination of the contract. So the quick tip to save money for your company and not get into this situation is to simply submit the sales report, Exhibit F, on time. If you have questions, you must submit no later than 2 p.m. on July 19th. I will not be providing any offer information or coaching that will give an advantage over another offer during this solicitation. If you have a question, you need to submit on time in HiPro so that the evaluation committee members can provide all offers the same information at the same time through HiPro. Please make sure your question identifies a page number, paragraph, line, or sentence. Otherwise, we might not be able to understand and answer your question. I also want to provide some bad examples of what not to do. You call or email me, hey, Matt, how do I register for the pre-proposal conference? It is posted in HiPro, the RFP solicitation, section 12, the RFP administrative information, and listed as a fourth time in addendum 1. Another example is after this pre-proposal conference, you call me, hey, Matt, where can I find the information on HiPro and its meaning? Once again, you need to read the RFP. Attending this conference does not substitute for reading. And another example of this is you submit the offer in HiPro, then you call or email me, hey, Matt, do you see the offer in HiPro, or did I forget to attach document XYZ, or am I missing anything? It is your responsibility to check, double check, triple check. I will not be doing that, and HiPro does not allow me to view before the due date and time anyway. So please go back to HiPro, check, edit, redo if needed. I want to emphasize that this is in the middle of this ESPC procurement, so I have the responsibility to protect the procurement, which I will not be providing any offer an advantage over another, regardless if it is a simple question or not. To be considered for award, you must achieve 50% of the total available points in each evaluation category. There are 11 different categories, so please read each category as it does ask for different information. Evaluators will score on a 0 to 5 scale, 0 meaning not answering the question or incomplete information, to 5, which is excellent. The average of each evaluator rating is how points will be determined. So how to score well, please be clear and concise. Also, as you read the RFP, you will notice that some categories indicate a maximum number of pages, so please do not add unnecessary fluff. Some reminders for the awarded contractors. For the awarded contractors who are offered the award, you must demonstrate you are compliant with Hawaii laws, which means you are compliant with the 4 departments: Department of Taxation, IRS, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, and Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. There are 2 ways to accomplish this. The first way is Hawaii Compliance Express, which is abbreviated as HCE. Using HCE is online. The only contact information available is located on that menu bar in HCE that indicates contact. I have no special person to work with the department, and I do not review any of the forms nor aware of what physical address maybe your for your mailing company or for your company for any mail that is sent. I simply check that your company is compliant so that I have the award and extension periods done. Agencies who utilize the contract should be checking on your compliance. If you are not compliant, they will not be able to issue payment. The other way is a paper certificate that is physically stamped with a QR code by each department. If you use this way to complete, please note that you may need to make appointments for each department and possibly power of attorney to discuss issues on why your company is not compliant. For licensing, various licenses for ESPC may be required depending on the work the department is asking for. If it requires a license, whoever is performing the work must be licensed. there is an order of precedence. There may be additional terms and conditions that the purchasing agency may need you to agree to. One possible example of this is so that they can utilize federal funds, which may require additional terms and conditions. This can be negotiated at the purchase order between you and the purchasing agency. In the event that you do not want to agree to it, let the department know so that they can reach out to a different vendor awarded or conduct their own procurement. The vendor and product evaluation is also numbered as SPO-012. The SPO-012 is essentially treated as a formal complaint to SPO. So as one person here, I do get questions and emails all the time. The very first thing when an issue arises on what I inform the agency is to try work it out with the vendor. If it is not resolved, to involve their jurisdiction point of contact. And if it is still not resolved, then submit the SPO-012 to myself, and then I will go and take care of it. I'm hoping that you do not let it get into this type of situation because it should initially be resolved between you and the agency. Also, as a reminder, a new law was passed for HRS 103D-329, which is for the past performance database. Please note that poor marks will affect your company in the future for an award for IFBs, RFPs, and sole source procurements. Make sure your certificate of insurance includes those sentences and meets the minimum requirements. Delay of the COI will also delay posting you on the resulting vendor list contract that will be announced to the jurisdictions, departments, and agencies. It is your responsibility to send an updated certificate of insurance. I was also thinking of how else to possibly make this easier, which you will notice on page 5 of the RFP has administrative information, and page 6 is the offer checklist. I would like to close with this. This is a vendor list which jurisdictions, departments, and agencies, or more simply, every single government agency may utilize this contract for improvement to their facility for energy savings. It saves a drastic amount of time for both the contractor and for the agency. For example, imagine 5 departments or agencies issuing solicitations this month and 6 more departments next month. There will be 11 responses you will be doing, which takes time and money on your end as well. Whereas responding to this solicitation under one master contract can potentially reduce the amount of repetitive work. If you do have any non-technical questions, if you can please raise your hand in Microsoft Teams, and then I'll call people based upon this order. Then please unmute yourself, or if you do not feel you wish to talk, you can also type your question in the chat. If you do ask any technical questions, you will be asked to submit your question in HiPro so that a response can be provided. Okay. I see one question in the chat. Do the licenses A, B, C need to be in place at the time of the bid, or can they be required after the bid but before bidding on the contract? As indicated inside the solicitation, you do need to demonstrate it. So it would need to be before the bid right now. Does anyone else have any questions? Yeah. I'm just gonna wait another minute here in case anyone is having trouble, just in case if anyone's struggling to find where to type the question in. On the very top, there is a chat, and then further on the right side, there is a microphone. So you would need to click on it so that it removes that strikeout if you do have a question. And just as a reminder, you can still send your question in HiPro as well. If not, if you want to hang out for a couple more minutes, that's fine as well. But otherwise, this concludes everything. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to be ending this. And again, as a reminder, if you do have any questions, please submit your questions in HiPro so that a response can be provided to everyone. Thank you for your time.